Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Sunday morning, April 23rd. My name is Don Daniel, and I'm the founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And for 17 years, we have been talking about this subject that most people think it is very simple, but it is not simple. Most people are unaware that the way we pay mortgages and other loans using this amortization schedule, using the way that the banks charge interest now, is 89 years old this year. Started in 1934. Okay, I see Bam is in the audience. Let's bring him up. All right, like to speak because I'm watching four screens at the same time, and I'm trying to listen. We're going to get it going, and I also want to mention our producer Kirk Nugent, who's making sure that you can see everything on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn right now. So we are actually live on Facebook and on our social media, so you can see what we are, so you can actually see what we're talking about, not just hear it. Bam, how are you this morning, sir?
Grand Rising King. As you know, I haven't spoken on one of your stages in too long, frequently, because you start early on the West Coast. I try not to disrupt the sleep in the house, and so I do very little verbal. But King, I so appreciate this title today. I'm looking forward to just listening to the comments, the thoughts, the questions. Pay off a mortgage in 7 years. Too good to be true or fact. Great title. And let me land my plane with this. We're doing an unpacking this morning Pacific time, 11 a.m. We're going to unpack one of the Donald Trump lawsuits. So I'm going to land my plane there. Keep on doing what you do, man. You're greatly appreciated by me. I'm done speaking. Bam.
Bam, what a teaser. What a teaser, man. You can't listen. Your teaser did exactly what you designed for it to do. So how can people tap in to listening how you're going to unpack one of those lawsuits? Because that's going to be so very interesting.
Well, what I'm really looking for, King Iceman, is what kind of organic traffic we get from it, number one. Number two, now that, as you know, we have the houses versus the clubs, we actually will be updating within the next 5 minutes our link directly for that room. Our link will be clubbamhouse.com. Clubbamhouse.com. Soon as it's forwarded to the event for today, I'll pop it in the chat. And thank you so much for asking. I'm done speaking.
Listen, that would be wonderful if you would put it in the chat. So I'm actually going to put my link at the top of the room, which is ICE, which stands for Interest Cancellation Expert, ICE10K.com. All right, ICE10K.com. All right, and just to kick this thing off here this morning, everybody, just to kick it off, you need to know this absolutely for sure. Okay, there are some things out there that if it sounds too good to be true, the saying goes, it usually is. But because the saying says it usually is, doesn't mean that it actually is too good to be true. Can I give you some examples? Can I give you some examples of what I'm talking about? Because see, I grew up in the era of cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. Some of you may not be old enough to remember that, but I remember that. Saturday morning cartoons. And one of the cartoons that I would watch would be the Jetsons. And do you realize that some of the things that they have on the Jetsons we're actually living in that time today? And people would think, oh, no, that's just too good to be true. Can you imagine that, I got my iPhone here. Do you realize when the iPhone came out? 2007, not that long ago. I remember using my BlackBerry. All right. iPhones came out in 2007, but now you got this computer in your hand that is an actual video phone, which years ago when I was growing up was science fiction, something handheld. Oh, listen. You see, I got my watch here, my iPhone watch right here. Do you remember Dick Tracy, where you could actually talk to your watch and communicate with people? What? Listen, we would pretend we were Dick Tracy talking to our wrist, communicating with each other while we were growing up. And now it's an actual fact. If listen, there was a video. What is that? The Waymo cars. Let me ask you something. Would you get in a car? All right. Would you call like an Uber? Would you call up a car like a Waymo that had no driver, that was driverless? Would you get in the back seat of that car with no driver and let it take you to your destination? I want to hear yes. I want to see yes or no. I want to see yes or no in the chat right now. Would you get in a car that had no driver that was going to take you where you wanted to go? All right. Yes or no? Let me see how you respond to that this morning. You see things like that, too good to be true, but it actually is right now. It actually is. Flying cars. My goodness. Robots. Look, Cheryl Daniels says maybe. She says maybe. Maybe. It all depends on what you grow up with. Okay? Bam says not yet.
I swear.
Come on, man.
Let me jump on that for like a minute or less.
Please.
Man, I give the Jetsons data all the time, Iceman. Not only do I give the data, I give the year that the cartoon was created. Because the cartoon The Jetsons was created in 1962 by Hanna-Barbera. One of the reasons I can remember the year that the cartoon was launched is the same year I was born.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy, man? You're talking about some futures. Virtually everything that's in that cartoon from 1962 is now reality. I'm Brian Franklin, and I approve that message. I'm getting ready to pop in the chat. clubbamhouse.com. We're going to unpack one of the many lawsuits against Donald Trump. And which one? You got to click the link or be in the room to know which one we're going to unpack. I'm done speaking. Bam.
Thank you for that, Bam. And listen, David Baker has just jumped in here with which is why God confused the languages. Listen, when you have people working together, I mean, they can do some phenomenal things and they can do some destructive things. But let me tell you something. About how things evolve that seem too good to be true. It's not that long ago, folks. It's not that long ago when my mother's mother was alive. Okay. When my mother's mother, because my mother was born in 1936. So, her mother was born way before then, So when you're talking about back then living in Missouri, a horse and a wagon was the transportation. And that's if you were lucky, And back then, if you ask people would they want, you know what they'd say? A faster horse. That's what they would want. Not a car, not a truck, but a faster horse, a stronger horse, a better wagon. It all depends on what you're growing up with. So if you grow up with 30-year mortgages, and you're told, that they use that mindset, you're already being conditioned that a 30-year mortgage should take 30 years. So if you're conditioned like that, if you're conditioned to use a toaster oven, do you all know what a toaster oven is? Okay. We still have them some of us still have them on our kitchen counter. my grandmother, my father, I'm talking about my father's mother now because she actually lived in the city I grew up in. My father's mother had a toaster oven. And then when microwave ovens came out, she did not have a concept of microwave ovens. No way, no how. I said, so if we ask grandma, in this new type of oven, you can take your plastic bowl and put some water in it, and you can heat that water to boiling. And she would say, absolutely no way. The plastic bowl would melt, because all she can relate to is the toaster oven. You can't understand microwave technology with toaster oven mentality. I'll say it one more time. You can't understand microwave technology with toaster oven mentality. I feel like a preacher this morning. Come on now. In other words, okay, I know Kurt he just loved that phrase just now. In other words, folks, listen. So David Baker says here, yes, my grandfather refused to use it for years. He will be 104 in 5 days. Oh man, that is so wonderful. Listen, what kind of stories could you hear from that? And you know why? Do you know why people refused, especially men, refused to use microwave ovens for years? Because here's the story. You get too close to a microwave oven, it will make you impotent or at least sterile. Come on. That's what was told. That's what people believed. Let me tell you something else about when trains in the old days, when trains would hit, they get faster and faster and faster. 60 miles an hour, a mile a minute. Do you realize there were medical experts that said if you were in a vehicle of any type, this kind of train that would go 60 miles an hour, you would outrun your oxygen and you would suffocate. Can you imagine people actually believe that?
Crack ice.
Come on, brother.
I'm so glad replays are on, man. You are setting this up masterfully. I'm done speaking, ma'am.
So, folks, when somebody says you can pay off a mortgage in 7 years, you have to at least look at it and say, you know what? Let me go back and ask the question, Mr. Marconi, okay? Mr. Marconi, Italian guy who invented the radio, all right, saying that I can speak into this box in this town and my voice can be heard in another box in the next town over. Do you know they tried to have the man committed? Whew. When something is new, the first reaction is cognitive dissonance for most people. Cognitive dissonance. Let's put it on the screen. Let me show you what we're talking about. We're going to put that on the screen, but my engineer says, Don, you got to give me a screen to share if you want to put it on the screen. All right. You got to give me a screen to share. And if you want to see what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see what we're talking about, please go to P.I.L.L Method. I'm sorry, P.I.L.L. Search YouTube. Okay. Search YouTube and then P.I.L.L Method. So I'm going to put this on the screen. Cognitive dissonance. All right, there we go. Cognitive dissonance. And we're going to take a look at that. All right, there it is. All right, let's bring it up. Let's make it just a little bit bigger. If you want to see what we're talking about, go to YouTube and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes. Do you know why they're inconsistent? Because we have been told a 30-year mortgage should take 30 years, and it is very clear that it needs to take that long. Do you know why? Because our parents still have a mortgage, and some of our grandparents still have a mortgage. And many people who are retired, who have been on their job for 20, 25, 30 years, still have a mortgage. So we believe that 30-year mortgages should take 30 years or more. It's been ingrained in us. So when somebody comes along and says it should take only 7 years to pay it off, that's when cognitive dissonance kicks in. The state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. Attitude change. I'm not getting in one of those self-driving cars. But listen, get a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, they can't wait to jump in. Okay? And listen, and when those things are 5 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, it will be like it has always been. It has to start somewhere. So ask yourself this: if you're having a problem with cognitive dissonance, let me help you get to the point where you can start at least asking some questions. Okay? And here's what you want to ask. Man, I just came back from Dubai and I saw more luxury cars, and I'm talking about high-end luxury cars, in one spot than I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay? In my entire life, in one spot, in one day, I've seen more luxury cars in 1 hour in one place, just parked outside my hotel, than I've ever seen in my entire life. Rolls Royce, Bugattis, Maseratis, you name it, it was there. So here's why I mentioned that. A $200,000 or $300,000 car, if you get a loan for that car, it has to be paid off in 7 years. A $200,000 or $300,000 car has to be paid off in 7 years. Do you know why? Because you can't get a 30-year loan on a car. If a $200,000 car has to be paid off in 7 years, how come it takes 30 years to pay off a $200,000 house? Have you ever asked yourself that question? It is not far-fetched. It is because we have not been conditioned to think that a car should take 30 years to pay off. We have just been conditioned to think a house needs to take 30 years to pay off. So let me help you get to the point where you can start asking some good questions. I wrote down some things, and I need you. Listen, if you are here in the house right now, if you're in the house right now, come to the stage so that you can talk about some things that seem to be unbelievable. If you do not want to talk, you don't have to. You can just come to the stage and learn from the stage. Just come to the stage and sit here. And when you do that, guess what? You bring your audience with you. All of those that are following you get notified that you're actually on this stage, and they may come in and see what you're talking about. I wrote down some notes. Let me see if I can pull up my notes here. All right. Now, how do we do things? All right. David Baker says, I want to come on up. I want to come on up. So let me bring him up. Good morning, Mr. Baker. How are you this morning?
Good morning, sir.
How's everything?
Good. Family's up and moving, getting ready for church. How are you doing?
Doing just fine. Do you have a quick comment while you're getting ready for church?
Yeah. No. So were you going to walk through an example of how to pay it off in 7 years, or are you just looking?
Oh, no. I am going to go through that. But I tell you what, since you're getting ready to go to church, as I go through this, I'm going to put in examples. They're going to be up on YouTube. You can watch the replay later because we have the replays on, and you can watch it on YouTube.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
But do you have any specific questions? If you have a specific question, I can get into it. Even, I can adjust my timing here. That's why I love live.
No, I mean, I have church. I'm only 10. It's 9:52 here in Kalamazoo, right, Michigan. So
you live in Kalamazoo?
Yes, sir.
Guess who grew up in Battle Creek?
I think the founder of Kellogg.
I grew up in Battle Creek. I grew up in Battle Creek. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, see,
don't be messing with me.
I know I like you for some reason, brother. Battle Creek is diverse, man. Battle Creek.
Yeah, I grew up in Battle Creek. In fact, we're going to be in Michigan. I'm driving to Michigan tomorrow.
Oh, let me know. I might you never know where you find me in Detroit, Kalamazoo. I mean, I just work in Kalamazoo right now. We have some ties to Battle Creek with the nonprofit we have, but we're branching off as God enables us to. But yeah, I mean, I love Michigan. But one thing about Battle Creek that's unique outside of Kellogg and all the philanthropy that's done in there is that it is diverse, unlike most of Michigan. Like you come to Kalamazoo or Western Michigan, it's like, it's bad,
Okay.
So relative. Is in my professional opinion, but anyway, we're not talking about that. Good, small world. I know something about you. You know something about me.
Yeah, man. Listen, we need to connect. So yeah, my link up above 10K card, that video card will lead you to my actual business card, and my contact information is in there. My texting number is in there. Please reach out, and then maybe we can connect.
I definitely will.
Okay.
And it's a definite on my end, so we'll make it happen.
All right. So listen, folks.
My question is about the house.
Yeah,
right?
but what's
about
yeah. All right. So
how do you really beat an amortization schedule, right? So my background is manufacturing engineering. And
right.
College, you think you're intelligent. I made the mistake a lot of people make when they buy the first car and end up with a high interest rate. And God just blessed me with family. But as far as the house is concerned, amortization schedules very similar, I believe, between a vehicle and a house, or at least there's some similarities. At the end of the day, there's an equation, right? That is correct. Leveraging compound interest against you. So there has to be some mathematical methodology that you're using, which is a P.I.L.L method, obviously, which you named it. But I guess I'm interested in learning more, I guess.
All right.
For let's say 209, 90,000, 92,000, and $357. How would you leverage that tool, right, to win at a 3.5% interest rate?
3.5. Okay. All right. So if you can see my examples, you want to go to YouTube on a secondary device so that you can actually see this example that I have. I have $292,357 for 30 years at 3.5%. So we're going to take a look at that, but we're going to be taking a look at it from the perspective of how most people look at this thing and where we're taught to focus. Go ahead.
I misspoke. 3.9%.
3.9. I could do it over. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
That's not a problem. 3.9.
Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
There you go. 3.9. So instead of a payment of $1,312, we have a payment of $1,378.96. That's the principal and interest payment. How you doing, Steve? I see you on the stage here. All right. So, folks, if you want to see what we're talking about, the example that David has here, he wants to go over this. And the first thing I want to talk about when you hear something new like this, okay, how to check something out. How to check something out. Here's one thing you don't want to do. Don't ask non-experts their opinion on something new. Just don't do it. There is no way they can help you. You can't ask a non-expert on something that's new. You can't do it. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, all right? They were saying when computers were as big as houses, They were saying that every home will have a computer, and no one could conceive that I could have a computer in my house when the doggone computer was as big as a house. And now I have a computer in my hand that is much more powerful than the computer that took people to the moon in the 70s. Look at that right there. Computer in my hand. And we have several computers now. You got your phone, you got your iPad, you got your laptop, you got a computer in your washer and dryer. you got a computer in your microwave. Listen, your refrigerator is probably powered by a computer. All right. And you have at least 300 computers in your doggone car that make it more efficient. So we got computers all over the place. When Steve Jobs, they had the foresight to say that everyone will have one, and no one believed them. So do not ask non-experts about anything new, because they will lead you astray. Let's get into this thing. I have $292,357 in principal at 3.9. And now we're going to look at it like we're taught to look at it. Here's my payment, $1,378.96. When you get advice on this thing, and all the numbers that people are telling you are based on the 30-year amortization and keeping the loan for 30 years, all of the numbers you see and hear about are based on the fact that you will have a 30-year loan for 30 years. So if that's all you've heard, then you can't hear anything else. It's hard to understand anything else, because right now $204,068.60 is how much interest the bank wants on this. So let's start right here. People think, they ask me all the time, Don, that's too good to be true, that you could actually pay off this loan in 7 years, all right, and save all the interest that you talk about. Do you know what actually seems to be ridiculous is this, that on $292,000 at 3.9%, the bank wants $204,000 in interest on a $292,000 loan. How in the world is that 4%? How in the world is that 4% when they want $204,000? How come we're not asking that question at the bank and getting some understanding? Says, listen, if it's at 4%, how does it get to all the way to $204,000? We're so busy trying to get the keys to that house, we overlook asking this question. In fact, when you take a look at the amount of interest you will pay, look at here, look over on the right side, total interest paid as a percentage of principal. The percentage of principal, how much of the principal you will pay, what is the percentage there of the principal you will pay in interest? 69.8% of your principal amount you will pay back in interest. And most of us never say no to that. I'm going to get this house and I'm going to pay all of that interest, and I'm going to sign up and be glad to do it. And when was the last time you know anybody who said, I read every single document in my closing documents before I signed them? Listen, when you go to the closing, they give what? They have the closing set up for about half hour. All right. But they have a whole tree there in papers for you to sign. And you sign each and every one of them, and you didn't read a single one. Not a single one. And you're signing up to pay $204,000. You're doing it gladly. You get the keys to that house and you're clicking your heels. We got our house, but I'm paying $204,000 just to borrow $292,000. Total paid back $496,000. So why don't we ask the question? what is the true cost of my house? What is the true cost of my $292,000 house? If I don't do something about it, the true cost of my $292,000 house is $496,425 for my $292,000 house. How many of us are saying to ourselves, that's what I'm really paying for this house? How many of us are actually saying that? Do you realize when somebody hears about what I do you know they have more questions about me cutting this $204,000 that the bank wants by 75%? They have more questions for me that says they've just gladly signed up for a 30-year loan than they asked when they were signing all those papers. They didn't ask a single question. They signed all those papers and didn't read a single one, but they're going to ask me a ton more questions about how to save them 75% of that interest and how to get out of debt in seven years. Ask me more questions than they asked when they signed up for this thing. And it didn't even bother them that the amount of interest that they were going to pay is about 70%, not 4%. I don't get it. What we're here to do, folks, is to get you to ask some good questions. And I'm not saying just believe me. So David, are you in a position to see these numbers right now? Because I'm going to have you help me.
I'm working on that right now.
Okay. So when you get to the point where you can see the numbers on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, okay, just search P.I.L.L method and go to the live.
Yep.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Right now.
So here's what we're looking at, and I need you to help me. All right. The very first payment on this loan every single month is $1,378.96. That's just the principal and interest. But every month you have some money going to principal and some money going to interest. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But in the next month, you have a little more money going to principal, a little less money going to interest, but the payment stays the same. And the next month after that, a little more money goes to principal, a little less goes to interest. So let me tell you what's really happening behind the scenes on this loan, sir. When you borrow money from the bank, they just purchased your equity. They own it.
Exactly right.
Okay. And so the way this is set up and the way you need to look at it is I'm now purchasing the equity back from them. Okay. And that's what's really going on. So when you give them that money, when you give them that first payment, $428.80 of your payment goes to principal or to create equity for yourself. You're purchasing $428.80 of equity in the first payment. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
How much do they want you to pay for it that very first month? How much in interest?
$950.16.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever paid $950.16 for anything that was worth $428.80?
Apparently I have.
Have mercy.
You ask me leading questions like that.
Have mercy. But listen, this is what we're doing. Okay, $428.80 worth of equity. We're purchasing our equity back from the bank, but they expect us to pay us $950.16. We get so used to doing that, we lose track. We lose track of how much interest we're actually paying. How long have you been in this loan, sir?
3 years.
3 years. So let me go to 36 months. Okay, 36 months. So approximately, we're taking a look at cumulative principal, which is the third column, and cumulative interest, which is the fourth column. So in 3 years, you actually paid this loan down by a total of $16,347.99, but the bank charged you $33,294.57. So let me ask this question: do you think 33 grand is too much to pay down your loan by 16,000?
Answer is, if there's another way, yes. I mean,
okay,
exactly.
So here, let me ask you another question. How easy was it to pay the $33,000 in interest in 3 years?
Oh, I mean, it's like I said, it's conditioning, so it wasn't that hard.
Not hard at all.
Know that your house not hard because in your mind, your house is you bought a house in a good location, it's appreciating, you're winning, right?
Yes.
And you're not worried about the back end, and everybody's paying 5 to 3.5%, so you don't think you're doing that bad,
right?
It's like the math, right? The mass mentality.
Now, on the front end, your house is appreciating. On the front end, you are gaining here, but we're also told to, or conditioned to only focus on the front end, very little on the back end. Okay, so what if we could get our front end benefits and save some money on the back end and not have to pay all that interest?
I don't think there's a person that would say no.
Okay,
if we can.
Let's dive in. So let's say I make my first payment here in January. So the second thing I want to bring out today is don't be afraid to check it out. Number one, don't ask non-experts. Number two, don't be afraid to check it out. Don't be afraid to check it out. So that's what David is doing. He's checking it out here. He says so some people say it's too good to be true, but let's show you it's just math, not magic. It's math, not magic. So in my first month in January, I make my mortgage payment. I don't owe any more money in January. Correct, David?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay. So my February principal payment, just the principal payment, according to this schedule, is how much money?
$430.19.
Exactly. Here's my question to you. Do I have to wait to February to give the bank that $430.19?
No, you could pay today.
All right. Well, that would be my equity, correct? Okay. That's $430.19 worth of equity. If I give it to the bank in January and tell them to apply it to principal, do you realize all of this money goes to principal in January? None of it goes to interest. None of it.
Did I realize that? No.
So I'm actually paid down to line 2 on my amortization schedule. How about that?
And at what time did you have to make the same time you make the first initial payment? You had to make the second payment, or time zero?
Well, that is a good question. Anytime before the next payment is due.
Okay. Like a credit card then. Okay.
Yeah. Anytime before the next payment is due, that money goes to principal. But as soon as that next payment is due, you owe another interest payment. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So if I'm going to subtract $428.80, that would bring me to my principal balance of $291,928.20. Then I subtract $430.19. That would bring me down to $291,498.01. Okay?
Okay.
Now, based on the fact that because I signed a contract, I owe a payment every single month. Okay? Even if I give the bank the $430.19, I'm paid down to $291,498. My next mortgage payment for February now is on what line of this schedule?
The line you have highlighted a second.
Well, I'm already here. I'm already paid to here in January. So what would have to be my next line?
Has to be below it. Right?
Exactly. So my next mortgage payment will actually be on line 3.
Yes, sir.
So every time I pay on the first of the month, it takes $1,378.96 to move this thing forward, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
I moved this loan forward with only $430.19. Line number 2 is gone.
Yep.
Okay. So now
I have a question.
Well, let me put this out, then I take your question. That $948.77 in interest on line 2, what happened to that?
You reduced it, or
that's what
just about eliminated it.
Yeah, that's what most people think, but reduced it by how much?
I did not break out my calculator and add up the.
Well, let me make it simple for you.
That's right. Layman's terms. Yes, sir.
$948.77. It was reduced by that much. You never have to pay that. All of it is gone.
Okay.
You just read
because if that you ignored, you eliminated an interest payment.
There you go. So when you give this principal payment early, you eliminate this interest payment.
I just wasn't sure. How do you completely eliminate it? Isn't that payment generated off of the sum of the total loan?
Man, I am so glad you asked that. Okay. So now it's not on the sum of the total loan. It's only on the amount of interest, the principal balance that month. Let me show you what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to bring up my calculator on screen. Okay. My calculator is now on screen. Okay. So you have an interest rate of, there we go. Let me show everybody, interest rate of 3.9%. So we put in 3.9%, and as a decimal, it is 0.039. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
So the what the bank does is take this number and divide it by 12. Divide that by 12.
Gotcha.
And you get 0.00325. They take this number and multiply it by the unpaid balance. In this case, the 291,928. So if I multiply it by 291,928.2 equals $948.77, because we have to round that up. That's the same thing that's here.
Gotcha.
This number, the 291,928.20, in this universe is the only number that can give you these two numbers on line 2.
Yes.
If you don't, if this is paid early, then they have to calculate off the 291,498. Which gives us the two numbers on line 3.
Exactly.
So the 948.77 we never have to pay. So far, so good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any questions at this point?
I didn't recognize they took the interest rate and they spread it out over a year, and that's how they got that calculated. Now I know. So I learned something. I appreciate you.
Well, listen, man, this they make money based off the fact that we're not taught this in junior high and high school. Because right now, the math that I just showed you, you could do this in 7th or 8th grade, right?
Or less nowadays. Shoot,
yeah,
my 6th grade.
But
yeah, right.
But this is not taught at any level of financial education.
Yes, sir.
So no wonder most people are thinking it's too good to be true, because the basics, the basis of the bank making money, we have no idea what the rules are. And so when we hear what can happen when you understand the rules, when we hear the end result based on our toaster oven thinking, we can't understand the microwave financial ideas. Okay? So that's why it seems too good to be true, because we don't understand how the mortgage works. So what if we did this? What if we did this? Made our January payment, right? And folks, when people say all you have to do is double up on your payments and pay more, okay? We're going to talk about that in just a second. But when you're doubling up, it doesn't mean pay the whole mortgage payment. It is just the principal payment. What if we did this, David? Paid in January, look at this look at this amortization schedule, and gave the bank extra before the next payment, the principal payment on line 2, 3, and 4, an extra $430, an extra $431, and an extra $432.99. What if we gave them that much money? What would happen to these 3 interest payments?
They'd have to go to the $290,633 and 43 cents principal balance, right? That's how they have to make the calculation.
Exactly. And then that makes our next mortgage payment on what line of the schedule?
Line number 5.
So we got rid of 4 lines of our amortization schedule for a lot less money and killed nearly $3,000 in interest we never have to pay, only because now we can understand how the mortgage actually works. What do you think?
I think that's great.
Okay.
It's been fun talking to you. No, it's kidding.
Oh man. Listen.
Bam.
Listen, he's a comedian, folks. He's a comedian. Listen, does anybody else in the audience want to raise their hand and come to the stage? Listen, we're having a good time up here. All right. So, David, do you have any other questions for me, man?
No, I appreciate you, being transparent and laying it out in layman's terms and taking the time. And I know you've grown this over time, but it's making a lot more sense to me. So I appreciate you. And then God willing, like I said, we'll connect somewhere near Kalamazoo. You stay blessed. I'll be listening in the audience.
Listen, man. Listen, just hang out. All right. So, folks, here's what we're talking about. I'm going to bring Garland up. Garland Barber wants to come to the stage and talk a little bit. So, Garland, come on up, man. We got you here. Do you have a question or a comment this morning?
I got a question, Ice.
Yes, sir.
I'm listening to this amortization schedule, and I'm trying to digest this.
Come on.
Like you said, too good to be true.
Yes.
So, also as a investor, at the end of the year, when we do our taxes, we get an interest statement. So by paying down sooner, that creates a bigger deduction, right?
No, it doesn't. Actually, it's going to slightly keep make your deduction less. You're going to be paying less interest over time.
Got you.
Less interest over time. But here's the thing. Keep this in mind. Every year you qualify for a mortgage interest tax deduction, you will get it. All right. Every year you qualify and you apply for it, you'll get it. Now, here's my question. Do you want to get that tax deduction every year for 30 years? Or do you want to get that tax deduction every year for 7 years?
For 7.
Exactly.
And so by looking at the amortization schedule, right? Like you said, we're never taught this. We sign all these documents, the title company, and never think twice the question, the cost of the purchase.
Exactly.
So now by paying down an extra payment, like you said, before that next payment is due, all I got to do is just send in that extra interest payment.
No, here's what I'm saying. I want to make everybody, I want to be clear. I'm being instructive here by going over this information, not prescriptive. I'm not giving you a prescription. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not giving you an ABC 1, 2, 3. What I am doing is stating what happens with the math when you do something, how you do it and how you go about it, how much money to move, what day to move it on, what month to move it in, which one of your loans do you attack. That's a totally different story. That's where our artificially intelligent cloud-based computing system comes in and guides you like financial GPS to tell you exactly what to do and when, so you can optimize your interest savings. And what do I mean by optimize? I want whatever dollar I put on here to kill interest, I want that dollar to kill the maximum amount of interest it possibly can. And that's how our program is an optimization program. So we want the smallest amount of money available to us that's going to kill the maximum amount of interest per dollar. That's how far down we drill on this thing, Garland.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions today?
No, that's it, Ice.
Listen, man. Listen, we have some good questions, folks. But if you want to know more about this, then do you see my link up above? If you're saying to yourself, I want to know more about how this AI system works. I want to know how I can save the maximum amount of interest that's mathematically possible for me and to pay off my debt sooner because I'm paying less interest. Then go to ice10k.com and click on that link up there. And then you will be able to see the button that says get a savings and earnings report. Follow all of the directions. Fill out, you'll be let into our financial form. And the one direction you need to be careful of is when you're putting in your cell phone number, because we want to confirm that you are a human being coming into our system. All right. Don't leave any spaces when you're putting your cell phone number in. Okay. We're providing the +1, but make sure when you put your phone number in, it's right next to that +1. No spaces. All right. Just put your phone number in, all 10 digits, no spaces, no periods, no dashes, no nothing. Just put the phone number in and then confirm it. And then we will send you a code. Just click that confirm button once. We'll send you a code as a text message. Get your text message, get the code, put it back into the website, confirm the code, and then click the button that says get. I want to save now. I want to save now. That will let you into our financial form, put all your information in. Guess what you get because of that? You will know the month, day, and year you'll be debt free, which is usually within a 7 to 9 year window, how much interest you can save. And then we're going to project for you that interest saved, how much money that could make for you if you invest your money instead of letting the bank make more money with your money. How about that?
Yeah, because I hear you, Ice, and I'm trying to visualize this, but I guess if I click the link and see it on the chalkboard on it, I got to see it.
If you want to see it, if you want to see what I'm doing, if you want to see this, then get another device. You have another phone or a tablet or a computer. Go to YouTube.
Yes.
Go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L Method in YouTube, and click on our live event. We're right there right now with all the numbers on the screen.
All right.
Okay. And then when it comes up, when you see it, come up and ask then come back on and ask some questions.
You said PILLmethod.com?
No. Go to YouTube, and in YouTube, search the words P.I.L.L Method. That would bring you to our channel, and then you can see the live event and just click on our live.
All right, I'm doing that now.
Okay. While you're doing that, let me ask Miss Angela T a question. And I'm sorry, Angelina. Angelina, good morning to you. Do you have a question for us this morning?
Grand Rising, King. Happy to hear about all this great information this morning. Dropping the game on us.
Too good to be true?
No, it's good and it's true.
Come on, girlfriend. Talk to us this morning.
My question is, so I'm in my early 30s. I'm renting, but I know in the future I'm gonna buy a home. So I'm trying to absorb this. It probably be good to talk to you before I get a mortgage,
You better believe it, because let me tell you something. The best thing you could do is set the mortgage up right in the first place. Okay? Here, so I went over 2 things already. How to check something out. Don't ask non-experts. Don't be afraid to check it out. Here's a third thing. Don't get all of your education from mortgage providers who are trying to sell you a mortgage. Don't get all your education there. Okay.
And I had to
go ahead.
Let's say if somebody was in a position, would it be more beneficial if you had the cash to pay it off in cash, or to use the strategy to pay it down in 7 years.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. Here we go. That is such a good question. Okay. And how long can you hang out with us, Miss Angelina?
Forever.
All right, hang out here for that question. We're going to come back to that. Garland, are you? Can you see my screen now? All right, I had to mute your mic, so you're gonna have to unmute.
Hey, King Ice, just real quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Steve not have a question? Did you overlook Steve a couple of times?
Oh no, Steve is he just likes to hang out on the stage.
Yeah, Ice, I see you live. I see it.
Okay, all right. So, did you have any questions? So this is an amortization schedule, 292,357. Okay. And we just went over the fact that the very first principal payment is 428 and the interest payment is 950. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And then the next month it would be 430.19 and 948.77. We just talked about the fact that if you could prepay, all right, if you could prepay something, you pay a lot less interest, but we don't know how much. I'm giving you an example of how you can eliminate payments and eliminate mortgage interest by knowing exactly what to do and when. All right. But this is not how my program actually works, but I'm just telling you now how an amortization schedule works and how you can take advantage of it. If you made your first payment in January, all right, and then looked at the principal payment for February, make your payment in January. What if you gave the bank an additional $430.19 in January? You would be paid down to line 2 on your amortization schedule in January. Your next mortgage payment would be for February would actually go to line 3. Okay, you can skip a whole line with just the principal payment prepaid, pay it before time, and you skip $948.77 worth of interest you never have to pay. How about that?
Got you. So, okay, that's what my misunderstanding. If we will be given an extra principal payment.
Yes.
Got you.
Right. And so whenever you pay extra,
reduce the interest.
Exactly. All right.
Exactly.
If you have that going on, then you can save a ton of interest by knowing exactly what to pay and when to pay it and where that money is actually coming from. Take a look at your entire budget. We take your current budget, and help you to pay off all of your debt, not just the mortgage, but all of your debt in about 7 years, cutting your interest costs by 75%, helping you to understand how to use your current budget to accomplish this fact without sacrificing lifestyle. You can live very well and have plenty of money in the bank and savings and still be out of debt in about 7 years. How about that?
Got it.
Okay. So if you want to know more about it, click my link. All right. Click my link click my link at the top of the page, and then click where it says get a savings and earnings report. And then by clicking and getting a savings and earnings report, you can now find out the month, day, and year you could be debt free on all of your debt and how much interest you could save using your current budget. And you don't have to sacrifice lifestyle. You don't have to eat beans and rice every day. I like beans and rice, but not every day. You don't have to drive a 30-year-old car. You don't have to cut up your credit cards. You don't have to stay at home and not go anywhere, do anything, and not have any fun with your family to accomplish this. You can live well, create memories for your family, put money in savings, and still cut your interest costs by about 75% and be done with everything in about 7 years. Bam! Like that. That's what
somebody call my name. Hey, King, I have a quick question for you. Man,
yes.
As you know, I've been in your room so many times, man.
Yes, sir.
And I invited 4 people that are real estate masters and doing some stuff in the real estate industry. None of them responded to my text that I invited. My question is, when is your next room, King Ice? I'm done speaking, bam.
That is a good question. My next room is going to be next Sunday because my wife and I are traveling to Michigan this week. So we normally have a show on Wednesdays. So we're going to have a on live. Go ahead and mute your mic, Garland, there.
So, did you have any questions? So this is an amortization schedule.
There we go. So what we're doing is that we generally we're on here 3 times a week. But we'll be back on next Sunday because we're skipping Wednesday because we're going to be out of town. We're going to put up a replay though on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We're going to have a replay up so that at least you'll still be able to come in and see something of what we're doing.
Yeah. See, but these people have to ask you a few questions, just like Garland.
Yes.
Just like David. Man, they ask brilliant Angelina. I don't want to leave anybody out. Brilliant questions, and there's nothing like a live performance.
Right. So we're going to be back here on Sunday, 8:30.
What time?
8:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 Eastern. We'll be right back here on Sunday to do a live show and take questions.
Okay. Are you going to do one at least once a month in the afternoon or evening? Ice?
That's something that we've been talking about and we can do. All right. We'd have to do something special, but yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. So what I want to do, then I'm going to land my plane and go back into just listen more. We have a partner that actually has a patent on a 0% mortgage. And I want him to have a dialogue in Clubhouse. He doesn't like talking a lot about his patent, and it has been issued. I'm going to send you a link, King, right now. You want me to text it or back channel to you?
Oh, text it to me.
Okay, I'm going to text you his 10K digital card. Take a look at the patent. I want to schedule a room with this exact same title. I love this title. And then I want him to also expound as much as he wants to regarding his patent, regarding his 0% mortgage. There is some major synergy. He's one of the people I invited. So I'll text you his data. Let's get us a date and time that you 3 can be, well, you 2. And I want David Drain in that room too, because David's a unique guy with a lot of brilliance. So I'm done speaking, King. I appreciate you. Bam.
I would love that. Miss Angelina, I'm ready for you now. So you were talking about, so that we got some new people in the room. Go over your question one more time so people can hear it.
My question is it better if you're in a position to pay your house in cash or to use the 7-year strategy?
All right.
That you have.
Let's talk about it. Okay. So here is what I want to start with. It's called opportunity cost. Okay. So I'm putting this on the screen. I'm going to put this on the screen where we're going to put the term opportunity. Okay. Opportunity cost on here. All right. Opportunity cost. And here's where we're going to start. The loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. Okay? So if I take my cash and buy a house, then I'm not paying any interest at all, correct?
I think right.
Right, because I just bought it cash. All right. But let me ask you, if I spend my money on my house, can I also invest the same money? No. So what it's talking about here, the loss, what is the loss of potential gain if I purchase the house for that money instead of investing that money? That's something to think about now, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So what I like to do is give a well-rounded view. And I think this is going to be helpful. Okay. If I can borrow the money and pay the bank a lot less interest, I can figure out what is called my effective interest rate, which means what would the interest rate have to be to pay this little amount of interest? And then I could take a look at how much interest can I make if I had this money to invest? And I can compare the two. How much money could I make? How much money is it actually going to cost me if I borrow the money? What if I could put myself in a position, Angelina, that if I could borrow the money for a lot less interest than I could make if I invested it? Would it be actually cheaper to borrow the money than to pay cash? Let me ask it this way. What if I could borrow the money and pay $50,000 in interest instead of $150,000 in interest, and then take that $50,000 in interest I didn't have to spend and invest it and make $500,000 with it? If I could make $500,000, but it only cost me $50,000, then I could take a look at, instead of saving $150,000 by paying cash. If I pay cash, I don't have to pay any interest at all. I could save $150,000. But if I borrow the money and just pay $50,000 in interest instead of $150,000, now I can take the $50,000. Let's say I can make $500,000. By not making $500,000 when I could make $500,000, that should be considered a loss. Any money that you could make that you didn't make should be considered a loss. Miss Angelina, does that make sense to you today?
Yes.
So it's not a simple yes or no. It's not a simple, here's what you do. We have to do the math to figure out, if I spend my money this way as opposed to that way, how would I benefit? But let me show you one thing. Let me show you one thing here. I'm going to pull up my amortization schedule. Let's just say we have the $292,000. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. And let's say I did have the whole thing. I had the whole thing. All right. And I could just pay cash for this house, but instead I borrowed the money. That means I still have all of that other money in my investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if for instance, took $40,000 out of the cash money that I had? Let me show you something by just prepaying $40,000. Let me show you what that does. Okay. So take $40,000, apply to this loan. We're going to take a look at cumulative principal here. For everybody who wants to see this, go to our YouTube channel, click on, search for P.I.L.L Method and click on our live, but also go ahead and subscribe. All right, we're going to put the amortization schedule back on the screen right now. So we're putting that back on. All right. So I'm going to go down to cumulative principal $40,000. So I'm going to go down.
I actually am seeing your not the there it go now.
Here it comes. So we're going to go down $40,000. And when I get to $40,000, that actually knocks off 82 mortgage payments with that 40 grand. Okay.
Wow.
And it saves me $72,000 in interest. I never have to pay the bank. So I'm already using my money. If I have $292,000 in cash, I can start making some serious moves with investing a lot of that money and taking a small portion and putting it on this mortgage to save a ton of interest. So I can do both. I can use my money to save interest, and I can also use my money to invest at the same time. I never, ever, 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 ever pay cash for a house.
Wow.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? All right. So I'm going to open up something else here, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. I'm going to bring up, okay, let me move this over here. And I'm going to bring up something to show you what I mean when I talk about effective interest rate. Okay. So let me find an example of an effective interest rate. So we're going to bring that up and I'm going to bring it back. So this is an actual something that I did for one of my clients. And as it's loading in, anybody who wants to see it, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Look for P.I.L.L Method and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right. All right. And now there it is. Here we go. I'm bringing it over now. This is a situation where we have a person who has an $89,000 mortgage. They've got a couple of other loans, $27,000. And here's some credit cards at $6,000, a total of $123,000. Okay. $123,000 that they borrowed. Okay. Instead of $45,000 in interest that they're going to pay on this, Miss Angelina, we're going to help them to pay only $12,826 instead of the 45 grand that the bank wanted. Now, if you had a situation where the bank wanted to charge you $45,000 in interest doing it their way, and we taught you how you can pay this off not in 21 years, but in 4.2 years, because you're only giving them $12,000 in interest. So the rest of your money could actually go to principal. That's a $32,000 savings. We're reducing your interest cost by 72%. And look at this. I need you to look at the middle here, right under the 12,826. I'm going to zoom in on that. What would your interest rate have to be? This is the effective interest rate. What would your interest rate have to be to pay only $12,826 on these loans? It would have to be 0.67%. So, Miss Angelina, if I can borrow the money at 0.67%, less than 1%, but by investing my money, I could make 7, 10, 12, 15%. Does it make sense to borrow money, okay, to pay cash when I could borrow it at less than 1%, but I can take my cash and invest it at 10%? I just love that question. What do you think, Miss Angelina?
You're right. You can put that money to work, yes, to bring more money instead of tying it up in one project.
Come on, girlfriend. I love those words. Instead of tying it up. Mercy. Do you know why I get so excited doing this show? Because we get to expand the minds of people who watch it, who are not afraid to examine and say, you know what? It may sound too good to be true, but at least let me ask the questions. Okay? At least let me ask the questions. And here's another thing that I want to bring out, folks, while we're doing this. Here's another thing we want to do. Another point I want to bring out. Listen to this. We already talked about that if you hear something that is too good to be true, number one, how to check something out. Don't ask non-experts about this new thing. Okay, just don't do it, because they can't give you good advice. Number two, don't be afraid to check it out. At least check it out. All right. Now, here's the other thing. If you do have a trusted financial person, don't get one-sided advice on the new concept. Okay? If your trusted advisor is worth their salt, then your trusted advisor will meet with you and the person who has the great new concept. And then that your trusted advisor can ask the person who has the new idea, and then all of you can learn together. Your trusted advisor will either disprove what the new idea is, or won't be able to disprove it. But at least they're not just talking in your ear saying, don't listen, don't do that, I don't understand it, I'm afraid of it, you should be too. They're not just talking in your ear while you're getting this good information over here. Bring everybody together in the same place so that you can hear all the questions and all of the answers in the same place. I want to know if that makes sense to everybody. Okay? It should.
Yes, because it's important to begin to think like an investor to truly get ahead in life and not be buried in debt.
Exactly. So what we're learning how to do is leverage and understand how to manage our credit. If we look at it as debt is negative. And you know what? I don't like negative. I like positive. And credit is positive. Do you know how I know credit is positive? Miss Angela, can I ask you a question?
You make money.
Well, listen.
You make money.
Yeah.
Off of it if you use it strategically and properly, but most people don't.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take a look. I don't know where you live, but what are the largest buildings downtown? Who owns the largest buildings downtown? What kind of businesses are those?
You know, I'm in a major city. I am in Philadelphia as we speak.
Okay.
And I'm sitting in Center City. One of my friends' place. This is a co-op. They got this whole block. Whole block up. Right?
Okay. So who owns the largest buildings in downtown Philly?
I don't know. My best guess is the bank.
Come on now. You know it's the bank. Okay. You know it's the bank. Okay. So if borrowing money is wrong, okay? Because we listen to a lot of experts that talk about don't borrow money, pay cash. Okay. If borrowing money is wrong, who's the biggest borrower of money in Philly?
The bank.
Exactly. Whose money are they borrowing?
Ours.
And what do they do with that money?
Make interest off of it.
And what do they pay us for the use of our money?
Pennies, crumbs.
So listen, if they can do it, why can't we learn how to do that?
Wow. We had to think like the bank.
We have to think like a bank. Come on, girl. That's what we're talking about. We have to think like a bank. I'm loving it. Who's next? Yes.
This is Bam.
Yes, Bam.
I want to put a number on what you just said, because what you just said is funny and all that stuff. But most people, I do not know that the big banks are paying on average 0.01% annual compound interest. So at 0.01 for $100 sitting in your bank, that bank's going to give you 1 penny in a year. Understand that, you all, and they keep us ignorant. Ignorant is lack of knowledge. For lack of knowledge, people perish. I'm Brian Franklin, and I approve that message, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Ben. We get so used to doing this, folks. Listen, the reason why we don't know more about it, the reason why it seems too good to be true is because someone, something, some entity is in charge of our financial education, and it ain't us. Somebody has exerted some type of pressure, some type of influence, so that the very math that I showed you today is left out of our junior high school, left out of our high school, left out of our colleges. If you're a CPA today, you don't understand how an actual loan or mortgage works because it's not taught in your classes. If you are a real estate investor, it's not taught to you in your classes. If you are a real estate agent, to get your license, you're putting people in 30-year loans. There is nothing in your test that helps you to understand how a 30-year mortgage actually works and how to beat it. Nothing in your course. If you are a mortgage lender, if you are a MLO, mortgage loan originator, you have to take a test to get that license to sell mortgages. Do you realize that nothing on the test goes over what you just learned today about how loans work?
Because they're there to sell the bank's money and to make the bank interest.
Exactly. Listen, folks, this is why we need to get to the point where we can start asking good questions about things that seem too good to be true. And stop listening to just one side, because there is something powerful about the negative. There's something powerful about the negative. I'm going to tell a story here, and I want you to tell me if it's true or not. Have you ever bought something that you were proud of? I got a new car. I got a new house. I just bought something. Okay. And then you're telling all your friends about it. And then somebody comes along with a magazine that talks about Consumer Reports. And out of that magazine, they start reading off everything that's wrong about your purchase. You are satisfied with it. Everybody you know is satisfied with it. You got praise for it. But one person with one article comes up and says something negative about your purchase, and all the air goes out of your balloon. One negative thing can make all that positivity just evaporate. Do you think people in banking understand that psychology?
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they understand it because they use it. They use it against you. They don't use it for you. They use it against you. Psychology and marketing go hand in hand. I'm going to market not to change somebody's mind. I'm going to market in such a way that if I can get people to follow their natural inclination and that make the natural inclination benefit me. So I'm going to market in such a way that it's going to be easy for people to do this, because we study psychology, human psychology, especially when it comes to finances. And that science is known as behavioral economics, behavioral economics. There are people who study that. And if they have an idea that you're going to go in a certain way, all they have to do is position their product or service in such a way is that when you make the decision that most people will make, it will benefit them.
Can I give some historical data on what you just said, please?
Come on, please.
All right. So, first of all, many of you in this room have heard of the gentleman psychologist by the name of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud did many of his studies on human behavior from a sexuality perspective. Here's something that I know for most of the men that's in this room at this moment. There are two things you think about damn near every other second. It's money and sex. Okay. Facts. Just do a little reading on that historical data from Sigmund Freud. And Sigmund Freud's nephew, his name is Edward Bernays. So if you look up Sigmund Freud and then put in nephew Edward Bernays, Edward created what's called the marketing mindset. He did a documentary years and years ago called The Century of Self, whereas they started studying mindset and from a marketing perspective and how to make women start smoking as men were smoking. Women didn't smoke years and years ago as men did. I can go on and on and on. So I just wanted to give you some historical data. It was Sigmund Freud's nephew, Edward Bernays, that created the marketing psychological strategies for us to do what we do. And then finally, here's what most of you don't know. The richest man in the world today, according to Forbes, is Bernard Arnault. Most of you have never heard of him. Bernard Arnault owns Louis Vuitton. Bernard Arnault owns Hennessy. He owns many, many, many luxury brands. The reason why I brought up Mr. Bernard Arnault in this room at this moment, I know that many people that come into Iceman's room are Black people who most of us are not homeowners. In 1964, when the Fair Housing Act was passed, Blacks owned approximately 42% of real estate in America. Go forward to 2023, we are now sub 45%. So we've made a 1 to 2 point move in all of those years. Who buys luxury? Sunday.
Oh, watch out now.
Who buys luxury stuff like Hennessy and Louis? It's us. Stop it. I'm done speaking. Bam.
So, folks, here's what we're talking about. If you think that this thing is too good to be true, there's a reason why it seems too good to be true. It's because we're conditioned to think it's too good to be true. And because it only takes a negative thing, it only takes one negative thing for us not to go forward. We don't like to do things and go against the crowd. We like it when people will affirm our decisions. So if most of you believe that it takes 30 years to pay off a 30-year loan, and somebody comes along and says, you can actually do it in 7, it takes a special person to say, you know what, I'm going to go with the 7-year plan, even though all my friends that are on the 30-year plan are going to look at me like I'm crazy and not affirm me. That's why you need to check it out for yourself. And not everybody is going to make the decision that's going to save them $150,000. Do you know there are some people out there that will make the decision to pay that extra $150,000 as opposed to looking bad to their friends? Come on. Here's another point. All right. Okay. Sometimes the idea is so new, it is impossible for someone to give you advice on a new idea with old financial thinking. If the idea is new, the best advice a person can give you is based on what they already know to be true. Oh, I've got another term for you, folks. This is a term I learned from a behavioral economist. Okay. What you see, what I see is all there is. What I see is all there is. Let me put that on the screen for you. All right. So we're going to bring up a new window. All right. What I see. All right. What? Okay. I got to type it right. WHIT. Okay. WH. What I see, right, is all there is. Or is it what you see? No, it's what you see. What you see, right, is something like that. All right. What you see is all there is. Let me pull that up. All right. And there it is. Okay. The term is Wysiati. Wysiati. What you see is all there is. Wysiati. So you can be fooled into thinking that the current amount of data that you have, to make a decision is all the data there is. Okay. So when people challenge this idea and says it can't do that, one of the questions that I have to ask, I say, are you telling me that you know all there is about this particular subject and there can't be anything new about it? A person who is reasonable would have to say, there's no way I could know everything about it. There's no way I could know that maybe there's something I don't know about it. Maybe there could be something new. So people ask me about Mr. Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman a lot. It says, why don't they promote your idea? Why don't they promote your idea, Don? If it's all that, why doesn't Dave or Susie promote your idea? And what you're asking me is, why doesn't Ford promote Chevy? That's what you're asking me. They are a brand, an established brand, and they have followers that follow that brand. Why would they endorse another brand and shrink their market share? It's just not good business. So,
King Ice, can I share one little tidbit regarding Susie Orman, please?
Please do.
As I shared at the beginning of your room, we're going to unpack one of Donald Trump's lawsuits against him, just one. And the one we're going to unpack, you just brought this out of me. I was going to just keep it a secret. But it's in regards to Donald Trump's involvement with network marketing, specifically a company, ACN. Susie Orman also promotes network marketing, which has this huge failure rate, but the one at the top can do very well, making people believe they're going to get rich. And so I have no respect for Susie Orman, none, because of her leading people down the path to be slaughtered by Mary Kay and Avon. No respect. I also have no respect for the former Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, who is a member of the Amway family. So you had Trump with Trump with ACN. You had Susie Orman with Mary Kay and Avon. You had Betsy DeVos with Amway. And then Madeleine Albright, God rest her soul, the former Secretary of State, God rest her soul, who promoted Herbalife. So I said all that to say, King Ice, doing what you do as an ego, you're in the right place at the right time, and I appreciate, man. As you know, I've been in your room many, many times. Every time I come in your room, I learn something. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a room real soon in the afternoon, so I don't have to get up early. And we're going to talk about ISIS model, a patented 0% mortgage model. And we're going to have this brilliant mind gentleman in the room too, named David Drake. David is super, super brilliant. He didn't like the 0% mortgage model from my guy, Robert. So, man, we're going to have so much to talk about. I just wanted to just say, I'm getting ready to bounce, and I'm going to pop a link. Please, you all, if you're available at 11 a.m. this morning, this is my outro. Please come into our room. We're going to unpack the lawsuit against Donald Trump that they tried to sweep under the rug. Rich people can sweep most lawsuits under the rug, by the way. And so we're going to talk about one of them specifically regarding the network marketing industry. And I'm done speaking. Don, I got to bounce, brother. But man, I text you so we can get us a date on the calendar. Your information is priceless. The way you set up the information about how we just don't believe something new, and we go to people we think know everything, and then we don't want to be the outlier. For those of you that don't know the word outlier, meaning you're outside of the pack of what everyone else does. Man, Ice, just keep doing what you do. You're amazing, and I look forward to sharing a stage with you within the next 7 days, talking about your mastery. I'm Brian Franklin. I approve that message, and I'm done speaking. Bam.
Thank you so much, Bam. Thank you so much. Listen, folks, we're looking at psychology here. But if I had said, we're going to go over business psychology, you all wouldn't have come in here. But paying off a mortgage in 7 years, is it too good to be true or fact? Well, fact, folks, it is fact. We have many people who have done it. All right. And so in the last few minutes here, I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you a video of a couple who's actually paid off their mortgage. They live right here in Huntsville, Alabama. And we're going to show that video right now. We're going to bring it up. Oh, if you're on YouTube, you can see it. All right. But if you're on Clubhouse, you'll just be listening to it. So, Kirk, do we have that queued up?
Yes, we do. I'm ready.
All right, let's go ahead and play it.
It seems foreign at first. Like, the interest is there and it exists, but you just don't completely grasp how many tens of thousands of dollars that you're paying in interest when you don't have to.
No way. That was my reaction. Like 30-year mortgage and, 5 years, 6 years, no way.
So here we are, 6.5 years later, just finished a 30-year mortgage payoff, and some of those same friends are coming back to us that were skeptical at first saying, now, what was this about again?
They're like, really? You're only 30 years old. You're supposed to be paying on that for a long, long time.
And going through business classes through college and understanding economics and managerial finance and how to operate small businesses, we understand we have debt, we have interest that goes along with that debt. We just didn't understand how our amortization schedule was set up and how much interest we're actually spending. We didn't initially have the understanding because we haven't been taught this way before. Take a $5 cup of coffee. When you take that $5 and actually look at your debt and your amortization and how much you're spending in interest, really, $5 could eliminate about $35 worth of interest. So the $5 cup of coffee is not a $5 cup of coffee. It's a $35 cup of coffee.
It took me a few tries to actually get it. He explained it to me maybe 2 or 3 times, and I thought, okay, I don't know. I'll have to see this for myself.
Changing the word penalty to a cost benefit. The word penalty, makes you feel like you've done something wrong. No one wants to pay a penalty or pay a fine for something. That's the question you have to ask yourself. How much is it actually costing me to pay down my debt? You're sitting there trying to look at it way too deeply, and you're looking for that catch. You say, okay, it sounds too good to be true. What am I missing? Finally clicked and the light bulb went off. We said, oh yeah, the catch is there is no catch. It really is that simple.
Every time you log in, you see that date of your complete debt payoff. That's my favorite part to see.
When you log into it and you're looking at that dashboard, you have different ways that will open up your eyes to motivating you even harder to pay off that debt. I know it's put us in a better position where we can provide a better future for our child and being able to enjoy some things in life and travel more.
I'm just super excited to be so young and to say we've paid off our mortgage and we can free up all this money to use for giving to others. There's all kinds of things that we can do. That's sort of been our financial goal at the beginning. We started in Honduras. The people there just took our hearts. We've been keeping in contact with them ever since then, which was maybe, 7 or 8 years ago.
They contacted us through Facebook and they said, we don't know what we're going to do, because the cancer treatments are just beyond reach for us. Because of the P.I.L.L method, when somebody who's devastated over a $600 cancer treatment that they can't afford, which we can't imagine it's even that low, we sit here and we say, well, yeah, here's money to get the cancer treatments done. We're not only putting our child in a better financial future, but we're also teaching her how to manage the money. And it's not that we have a magical program. You still have to have discipline, and it's the life concepts that we all need to pay attention to. Say hi.
You are so
pretty. In my career as a real estate agent, this technology has been phenomenal for the clients that I work with on a day-to-day basis. I've been around real estate literally my entire life with our family-owned real estate company, and some of our clients that we sat down with and were forced to sell because they got laid off from their jobs, they had hours cut back, they had to look for work in other parts of the country. And we looked at selling their property, and they said, we literally have nothing to show for our time here. We've been paying our monthly payments month after month like clockwork, and we're literally going to have to pay someone to buy our home from us. And it was so frustrating to have this conversation and their reaction to where they were, that if they had been on a program like the P.I.L.L method, in just as little as a couple of years, you can put yourself into having rapid equity growth, even in a declining market. A lot of friends and clients that I've talked to say, well, we can put extra money on the principal of our mortgage, paying off our smallest debts and working our way up to our largest debt and pay it off, just as quick ourselves. I use the analogy of, following a GPS, and it may pull up 3 or 4 different routes. They all get you to your destination, but the P.I.L.L method is just way more effective. It eliminates literally tens of thousands of dollars in interest that we were going to have to pay doing it the other way. But the technology that backs up this program is just phenomenal. It's finally sinking in, I think, to some of our friends and families and clients that we work with because we're sort of walking testimonies that it works.
I think that it should be taught in schools, really, but the banks might not be too happy about that because they like those interest payments coming in.
What's interesting is that one of our most reputable lenders that we work with here in this area, her and her husband actually joined the P.I.L.L method program just a few years ago. If more people caught on to this program and this technology, it would drastically boost the real estate growth here in our area. Her and her husband, they looked at the numbers and said, a refinance is not going to benefit us from where we are. The P.I.L.L method is the plan that we need to put into our lives.
For over 60 years, and they recommend me to their clients. Can you imagine? Why could they recommend me to their clients and jeopardize a 60-year relationship right here in Huntsville, Alabama? 60 years in this city. Just recently, Huntsville became the largest city in Alabama. Also, from World News, let's see, World News and Report. What is that? That organization? But anyway, Huntsville is now the #1 city in America to live right now. And one of the companies the real estate companies that have been here the longest, recommends the P.I.L.L method to their clients. So I just wanted to share that with you, because if it seems too good to be true, guess what? It could be true. You have to investigate. You've got to investigate. All right. So listen, I want to just go over. We're getting ready to log out here, everybody. But I want to make sure that I go over the comments here that we have. So we have some folks from Roger Farmer says good morning. He's watching us from YouTube. Dennis Glebe says good morning, Don. This is Dennis in Elk Grove, California, listening to your message this morning. Looking forward to talking with you personally Monday or Tuesday. I love those types of comments. Angelina Evans says, think like an investor. All right. Garland Barber says, it says he subscribed to our channel. Thank you so much. Shirley Rice, all right, says, Shirley Rice Price says, good morning, everyone. All right. And brother AJ, says, Amway, I will never again. Anyway, so we just want people to know that you can benefit from understanding something new. Just because it seems too good to be true, don't just turn your back on it. So in the last few minutes here, we have here, we're going to bring anybody up to the stage that wants to speak a little bit. But I want you to know, folks, that, yeah, it seems too good to be true, but there's reasons why it seems too good to be true. We just need to ask good questions and be able to get good answers. Once you ask good questions and get good answers and don't buy into the negativity, you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest, pay off all of your debt in about 7 years, and then take that money and invest it somewhere else. All right. Gemma, I see you on stage. Did you have something that you wanted to say this morning to us? Go ahead and hit that mic and open it up.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Gemma. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm blessed and highly favored because I'm in a room with all these big numbers and big conversations and houses and mortgages and 7 years paying off mortgage. Wow, where were you when I needed this information?
And where are you in the world right now?
I'm in the Caribbean.
All right. Specifically. Trinidad?
Sunny State.
Okay.
Yep. Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. Where a lot of coconuts and a lot of tranquility.
Well, listen, we appreciate you being here. Did you have a question or comment this morning?
I'm just grateful to be here because you invited me. So thank you for inviting me. And I came in here and I have to have my pen and paper. So I was busy writing while you guys were talking. And I could barely keep up with all this information. Thank you so very much for the invitation, because now I'm able to now look at things from a different level. I really thought I should just pay for a house cash. And so when you stated never pay for a house cash, I was like, okay, thank you for not letting me fall into that pitfall by myself. And there are many other things I've learned in this conversation, which I'll be looking at the replay, because behavioral economics is the first time I've heard this word. So I'm going to be researching it up. And the psychology of marketing, yes, definitely. I would definitely be paying attention to all these different little signs that they placed in front of me to distract me.
Well,
right?
there are plenty.
As a real estate executive, I'm learning, and I'm actually learning from the ones who have gone before me. So this is, for me, is a great honor and a privilege to be a part of this meeting this morning. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Phil. Well, and good morning, everyone.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Anthony Edwards, how are you doing, sir?
Don. Yo, Don, I will preface my comments by stating at the outset, you are my guy. I have nothing but the utmost love and respect for you. You're a bright, shining light. I admire you very much. Now, with that said, even people I love and admire can be wrong.
That's true. That's true. They can be. Come on with it.
Yo, bro, this concept of paying off your house in 7 years and then taking the proceeds that that you're now getting after you've paid off your house to go and buy other property, that might be the height of crazy talk to me, bro.
Oh, are you
one simple
let me ask this: for a real estate investor or for somebody who is just a residential home buyer?
Well, if we're saying to take the proceeds once you've paid off your house and buy real estate, I think by default that's an investor. My humble opinion.
Exactly.
I could be wrong.
We don't have the same advice for investors. And so I am in total agreement with you. So go ahead and break it down for us because I agree with you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. We're starting off with a point of agreement. All right. All I was just going to say is if anyone we're in 2023, subtract 7 from the number 23. I'm not too good with math, but I think that's 16. If you were to look at property values in 2016 compared to 2023, you will see an order of magnitudes difference. The money you would have saved by paying off your house in 7 years would be a pittance compared to you actively investing that money and using it to acquire more property. It would be a rounding error.
Exactly.
So this is the basic problem with, as I see it. But you said you agree, so we're good.
Oh yeah. I agree with that. We're gonna get into that right now. So listen, folks, because we have Anthony in here, and then somebody just came up. Let me see, who is this that just came into the room? Let's see, be your best self. So we're gonna get some information there. I'm gonna go a little bit past our regular time, just a little bit past, but we're gonna say goodbye to everyone else that's that's watching us online so we can end that on time. We have to end within 2 hours. Okay. So we're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. But before we do that, I need you to take a look at these graphics. If you want to know more about the P.I.L.L method, all right, click on the link, ice10k.com, and get a savings and earnings report. That's number 1. Okay. Get a savings and earnings report. Follow all the directions. Number 2, get my book. It is a 6-time bestseller on Amazon. Okay. This is the only book of its kind on Amazon out of 33 million titles. Number 3, if you like what you heard and you want to help us and make a little money on the side, you can become an affiliate. It only takes 15 seconds to sign up and it's free. And as an affiliate, you can make up to $3,000 in 1 month, helping us get the message out. I want to thank everybody right now. So let's go ahead. We're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, just a few seconds from Dr. Eric Thomas and how he used the P.I.L.L method to save interest on his house and how to pay that mortgage off. And then we're going to say goodbye to everybody online. But if you're here on Clubhouse, hang out, because we've got some more information for you from some folks that are on the stage. All right. So remember, we're not going to be here on Wednesday. We're going to have a replay on Wednesday. We're going to come back here on Sunday, giving you more valuable new information and great content. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.